Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Alaskan time, that's 1 p.m. our time. Some of the world's most experienced and talented dog mushers are going to set out on the 938-mile trek. Valley News Live's own Devin Frey is originally from Alaska, and he joins us to talk a little bit about Alaska and everything you know about the Iditarod. Okay, so you're our traffic guy in the morning, so people don't always get to see you, but here he is.
In all my glory, if
Fabulous.
that's what they call it.
I know I said traffic guy, Alaskan guy. You're like, I've always been Alaskan.
I'm always Alaskan.
Okay, you live here now, but you actually born and raised in Alaska.
Exactly. I grew up in, I was born in Fairbanks, Alaska. I grew up in a small town just outside of Fairbanks. It's basically the woods in the interior of Alaska. It's a town called Salcha. It's hard to call it a town. It's more of just like an area that everybody lives in. It has a name. Don't know if that makes it count as a city, but I count it. And so that's why I put it on all my official stuff anyway.
I love picking your brain and finding out and learning all things about Alaska, and especially when we talk about the Iditarod.
Yes.
I mean, if you live in Alaska, is that just like part of your family history, your bloodline?
Exactly. Everyone like grows up reading books about it, things like that. Lance Mackey, we were forced to read his biography in elementary school. It turned out to be really good, which is cool. That was a plus. But yeah, we had to read that in elementary school. You just learn constant facts about it. We all watch Balto because it says Alaskan, and you never see anything with Alaska in like movies and things like that. So, things like that. And the Iditarod is just such an internationally known event. And so, like for me, when I was doing sports back home, it was a real honor to like be able to like cover that event and see the race in action, see the dogs do what they love to do. It was a really great time.
Okay, so let's jump in that, because I feel like we all kind of follow the Iditarod and we like to pick, and contest to see if our musher is going to win. But you actually covered it, so let's talk a little bit. I mean, how many years did you get to go, and what was it like? Is that you?
That's my start to sports reporting in 2017. One of my first assignments was covering the start of the Iditarod in my hometown of Fairbanks, and so that was a really fun time. And yeah, that's a very rare occasion that the Iditarod gets to start in Fairbanks. Here's footage from our station, also owned by the same people as us, from back home. This was the first real event I covered, and yeah, they had to restart the race in Fairbanks because there wasn't enough snow in Anchorage, so they had to bring it up farther north in Fairbanks where we are, and then start the 1,000-mile race from there to Nome. But yeah, and it was just a real honor to be able to cover that event, and it was super cool to be able to like add that, and that's going to be on my resume forever, which is really cool.
Say, on your resume forever, this is probably on a lot of people's bucket list to go and watch this. And talk a little bit about the atmosphere and how many people go to watch this. Oh,
it's thousands of people, and it's a wild experience seeing all the people lined up. We're going to get a good shot of that right now, actually. They're kind of going to go along the crowd of people. That's the Chena River. They're actually running on top of a river right now. But yeah, it's just thousands of people lined up for miles down the course to try to get a glimpse of their favorite mushers going, see the dogs do what they love to do, which is really, the dogs are the best part of it. And there's dogs involved in an event. It's the best part of any event, but especially when they're showcasing their athletic prowess like that.
Okay, so I feel like we all feel like we know about the Iditarod, but how many dogs are there? How many people are in this race typically, I would imagine?
In the Iditarod, there's more. There's 2 1,000-mile races. There's the Yukon Quest and the Iditarod. The Yukon Quest is an international race. It runs from Fairbanks to Whitehorse in Canada, and the Iditarod runs from Anchorage to Nome. And so there's usually more in the Iditarod. It's less of a brutal trail. The Yukon Quest goes through mountain ranges and things like that. And so the Iditarod tends to field about 80 to 90 mushers, and they finish, the top finisher finishes in about a week usually, so they're out on that trail for a very long time, because 1,000 miles, kind of a long way.
Wow, yeah, no kidding. Okay, so we have video of you covering it. Have you, like, just as a fan gone and watched it more than once?
Only once, and that was when I was a really little kid, because I lived like an hour outside of Fairbanks, and they never did the restart in Fairbanks anyway, and so we would have to go down to Anchorage to watch the start of it, and it was that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for sure. Just being able to see that kind of event, being able to be right in the middle of it was something really cool, something I'll never forget for sure.
Any little like scoop you can give us that only Alaskans know about?
Well, my favorite thing, I'm going to go back to my personal experience once again. My favorite thing that I've ever done involving this race was a year ago I interviewed Lance Mackey. He won the race 4 years in a row. I believe he's from Salcha. Might be wrong on that. But That's what I was told.
It's your story. You can tell it
Exactly,
how you want.
exactly. And yeah, I got to interview Lance Mackey last year. He came back from throat cancer. He came back from losing dogs on the trail, things like that. He sat out for a year, 4-time champion. He won an ESPY for winning the Iditarod 4 years in a row. And
He
then,
needs to write a book, or has he?
Oh, he has. Check out Lance Mackey's book if you can find it.
Okay. Is he still
Amazon.
racing? Do you have a prediction for who's going to win this year?
Oh man, that's tough because it's really wide open. A man named Jor Leifseth Olsen from Norway won it last year, and nobody saw that one coming really. So it's really wide open every year. There is a fairly well-known family named the Seavies. They're really good at what they do, Dallas and Mitch Seavey. So possibly Mitch Seavey, possibly Dallas Seavey. Never know.
Oh my goodness, we have to have you back and follow up on how the race goes. So fun to have you talking about
anything Alaskan.
anything
I'm here to
Alaskan. I was
cover.
going to say the Iditarod.
I've been
and
working my
anything.
life to be an Alaskan expert.
All right, I love it. Good stuff. Thank you, Devin, so much. Stay with us. Coming up next here on North Dakota Today, it's National Women's Month, and we are celebrating with one of our favorite lady bosses. That's next.